morning's call is titled The Menu. Obviously, we're talking about service menus, and many dealerships haven't changed their menu in many years. When menus aren't updated and reviewed regularly, several things happen. Guarantee these things happen if you don't. Number one, they aren't sold or presented often. People get out of the habit of even recommending menus when they're not regularly reviewed and updated. Second thing, they may be designed incorrectly. One of the things that definitely happens over the years is things change, and you need to change your menus to obviously keep up with the different changes. And the third thing that happens is they don't generate profit or revenue for the shop. And included in that is, I believe, that proper customer care isn't addressed either. When you don't have regularly rethought out menus, believe me, the customer care goes down also. And I'll talk about, first of all, just using oil change as an example of how things changed. Many years ago, everybody used to teach the 3,000-mile service. And customers would really pay attention to that and bring their cars in based on a 3,000-mile interval because they wanted to care for the engine properly and do a good job on maintenance. Then that started to grow, and General Motors was, I believe, if not the first, it was the one I recognized the first to come out with this statement. Basically, wait till the light comes on. Our mileage, our computer is going to be based on how you drive your specific vehicle. And in that, what they were really promoting is that our cost of ownership is down because of the simple truth that we don't need maintenance anymore. And that definitely created some issues for General Motors engines. And when we look at the intervals, some have suggested like that, many actually, that you don't really need to monitor or do mileage-driven intervals. And so it basically gives us a logical reason why we don't need to be involved in menu review. My goodness, no cars need maintenance. So then the design, the selling techniques, they don't generate profit or customer care if you're doing that. And you might ask yourself, well, what is a good oil change interval? Myself, I like the 5,000. Oils have improved and engines have improved. But if you don't use a mileage-driven labor operation menu, then you're going to run into holes that are the size of a billboard alongside a road going down the highway. So let's look at some best practice thoughts about menus today. I think, number one, the best practice is develop a menu that has good, better, and best options for the customers. And if you do that, interestingly enough, most people end up taking option number two, the better. They don't want the good. They don't want necessarily the ultimate, but they'll take the better, which is an upgrade. If we look at the good menu that I would recommend dealerships build, it is for whatever manufacturer, factory recommendations. Now, if the factory recommends certain things at 30,000 and other things at 60,000, the menu for the good would be for those recommendations. Now, if you want to include an oil change or something like that, or oil change and tire rotation, that's acceptable in the good, but basically that would be about it. The better would include some maintenance on fluids and such. For instance, it could be that it's got clean brakes up, remove the wheels and polish the calipers up, remove rust and debris from the brakes and reassemble. It might be that in a harsher winter climate or something that you've got a battery maintenance package, something like that in the better. And then the best, which would include all popular maintenance and fluid changes to maximize the customer care for their vehicle. And really, the Good, Better, Best program, if you don't have that designed into your menus, I'll challenge you to consider just putting it in place at your dealership. Not saying it's an easy menu to develop. It's best practice. It is the future of menus and really the ultimate way to care for your customer and get the menu to be functioning properly in your dealership. The other thing I think that's important when you're talking about menus is that feature benefit presentations are a must for the entire team to use. If you're not using feature benefit presentations when you're showing or introducing a customer to a menu, you're going to lose. The fact is that the days of you're due for our 60,000 mile service are done. It will never get it done. Your due is irrelevant. What advantages does a well-maintained car have? When you're looking at feature benefit presentations, it could be that we'll take a fluid flush on a transmission. If you do that within a certain mileage interval, then you're going to get, if the transmission is damaged and not covered under warranty, then the first $2,000 is on us. We're going to take care of the first $2,000 of that repair bill. Is that a feature that we would want to illustrate to a customer when we're presenting something to them? Or really, do you think this is productive, where you just go, you're due for a transmission service, it's $200. You want that? You've got to get into feature benefits where we're going into exactly what it will be performed on the vehicle, why it's necessary to properly maintain the component, and what's in it for the customer. The other thing that we need to discuss when you're talking about menu preparation and presentation, labor operations structure is a must. I can't tell you how many times over the years I've looked at poor performing customer pay effective labor rates, and I see that a menu item is so low it really draws down the number for the entire team result. The entire dealership results are worsened because the labor op structure wasn't even looked at or reviewed. So when we do that, either the amount of money being charged to the customer is low, so low that it doesn't make sense, or the tech hours paid to that labor operation are so high it doesn't make sense. Profit margins on parts and labor on every op code should be reviewed before you develop or present a menu for printing. These are just simple facts that you need to have done, the homework you need to have it done well. And if you're looking at labor cost on labor operations, I would recommend that you just take the average technician cost for your shop and dial that in when you're analyzing is this operation profitable or not. And if anyone would say, gosh, that sounds like a lot of work, we do have a tool that we use when we're analyzing our clients' labor operations. And if you request it, we'll send it to you via email. But on this tool, what you do is you input the labor op and what it pays and what the parts costs are and your average tech wage. And at that point in time, it's going to tell you exactly what your profit margins are on parts and labor and rate that in red, yellow, green status. So it's a simple analysis of what that opcode is going to do for your shop in productivity and profitability. And you should use that type of evaluation, whether you're doing it manually or using your computer to analyze it. It should be done every operation before it hits the menu. The other thing on best practice menu is you got to monitor the labor operation frequencies and share them with the team. No matter where I go, it intrigues me that there are labor operations when we look at frequency They're just not being performed at that dealership. Does that mean that the labor operation doesn't have a need there? Well, when we're talking about differential services or transmission or coolant, or we're talking about brake fluid, or even tire rotation and rotate and balance instead of just rotating. If you look at the labor op frequencies of a rotate and balance in your shop, you might find an interesting statistic that says, man, why are we not doing these? Or, gosh, we only did 5 last month. Well, the reason you're not doing them is because the advisors aren't bringing it up. They're not recommending them. Monitor your labor operation frequency and pick your poor performing labor ops and get buy-in from the advisors and the techs why it would matter. Tire rotate and balance every 20,000 is a reasonable way to care for a car. So mileage-driven labor operations, your 30,000, your 60,000, your 90,000 service, these are ways to develop your menu. Use that mileage-driven and have the 30, 60, 90. The recommendations are designed on good, better, best, and get your customers out of the habit and explain to them, don't wait till the light comes on. Many times that's too late. Let's have specific mileage-driven maintenance recommendations that's professionally presented. Now, at this time that you've gone through this work and your menus are ready for print, you need to present these printed menus for customers to take with them, and I believe they should even be included in new and used car deliveries. When they do an introduction, and if your dealership doesn't do an introduction to service on the sale of a vehicle, then that's a strong recommendation to make. What better time would it be to go over and hand them a well-designed, prepared menu to properly care for their car? And at the same token, it would be nice to know that the used cars, that the owners are not shocked when recommendations are made on their first service visit on the used vehicle. Can you imagine you just buy a used vehicle and you bring it in 2 months later for a service visit and they say, my goodness, this is bad and that is bad and this is bad. They never feel good about that. So if your dealership isn't reconditioning the used vehicles through the service area properly, using the menu as best practice, when the recommendations are made, then let that be a problem with the sales side, never the service department recommending needed maintenance on any visit. Every time, every car that comes into service, regardless of the how or why, the dealership service department staff need to recommend all of the items needed that they visually see in multi-point inspections and mileage-driven menus. Menus can be an important source of customer care and profits for a well-run service department, or it can be a major mistake for your dealership. It's a choice. I challenge you to make it. As always, we like your input for our conference calls. You can notify us on email by going to our website. You can click on the individual you'd like to contact. My email is on there as well as telephone contact information. www.fixedperformance.com will get you all over our site and express our options in our menu. Hope everybody has a great day, and thanks for listening. Bye for now.
Hi, are you struggling to increase your service department's effective labor rate? Many dealerships today are. We can help you with our proven process and years of experiences. My team has been through all that you face today. we have found solutions for even the largest problems, such as employees that are not team players, no one updating the customer on the completion time of their vehicle, no walkarounds being performed at all, and worst of all, shrinking profit margins. Fix Performance is the solution you've been looking for. We will take your service department to the next level of performance by increasing your customer retention, turning your staff into a team, and best of all, maximizing your effective labor rate. So let me ask you, what are you waiting for? Give us a call today at 888-205-8718. Fix Performance, where we have total commitment to your team's excellence.